Welcome everyone to another episode of the Pierce Brothers. Today we wanted to get together. We just got back from SHOT Show late last night, and we wanted to get together and film a video as kind of a follow-up to SHOT Show and talk about new products that we're excited for this year, and then any upcoming projects that we have planned for this coming year. With the new year, it's always a good time to set some goals and talk about, where the channel's headed and that. So we'll start off by just kind of going through SHOT Show. There was a lot there, a lot to cover. I hope you guys saw some of our shorts that we were putting up every day, bombarding you guys with new shorts every 5 minutes.
Trying to anyways.
Yeah.
We need to get a secretary next year to where we can just focus on doing what we do and someone else taking videos and uploading them. So
it takes a lot of time to upload that and take the video and edit and just throw them up. And anyways, but we'll just dive in. I guess we'll let Dad start and do an item. We'll just kind of go back and forth and talk about different stuff. And Dad cover one, I'll cover one, Port cover one, Jake you cover, and then we'll just kind of go back and forth. And
Okay. So, Lipsy's is kind of out with some exciting news this year as well. We knew this was coming. We weren't sure if it was going to make it for SHOT Show, but just literally 2 days before SHOT Show, they got a few sample guns from Smith & Wesson, and so they made SHOT Show by that much. And I think they're probably going to expect inventory in-house in about a month. So, but they're bringing back the mountain gun in two models initially. There'll be other models later. The first one will be the Smith & Wesson mountain gun in the L-frame 357, and it's the 7-shot version. So this is actually one of the original ones. They've done some re-engineering on it a little bit. I'm not 100% convinced that was necessary, but they did anyway. They did a crane lock for one thing, but which is not a bad thing. It's now got a 2-piece barrel and so on, but that's going to be a big hit. These are very hard to find. I've had this one for 20-something years, and they're high demand. They're a very interesting gun. The other one, initially, of course, be the 44 Magnum. We did shorts on these, I do believe, but this is an early 90s mountain gun, 44 Magnum, 629-4. It's had the cut rifling, endurance package, and so on. The interesting thing about these new guns is they're going to have Roper style stock from Tyler Gunworks on them from the factory. So that's actually very exciting news. The other thing, of course, they'll have the endurance package and so forth. But the other big news is that they are cut rifle barrels. They're no longer EDM barrels. Those work so much better with both cast and jacket bullets. They give higher velocities. So there's been already a ton of interest in that. They're talking about doing them in 45 Colt and other calibers as well. The 45
10
Colt,
millimeter as well.
10 millimeter, a 5-shot L-frame, 44 mag, and some other things. But those are down the road. The 45 Colt, they wanted to have it engineered to accept 45 ACPs as well. That's great from a versatility standpoint, but don't expect great accuracy with 45 ACP with moon clips in a 45 Colt chamber. I would really like to see them to do that. That's fine, but go ahead and do a 45 ACP at some point. That one actually has the potential to be extremely popular as well. So, anyway, that's
I don't know if Dad mentioned there's no lock on the new ones either.
Yeah.
So no lock, first time in 20+ years.
Yeah. And I forgot that, but yes, this is a straight up gun. They've done a lot of work with Smith & Wesson to bring it back to what shooters want. So
another thing that Lipsy's is doing is their next version of the Ultimate Carry J-frame with the titanium cylinder, which lightens them up by about 3 or 4 ounces, makes them even lighter than the J-frame already was. So that's another good option in the EDC world.
Port? There was a few different things. One of the main things that kind of stuck out to me, well, not one, but one of the things that really I enjoyed was Leupold. They came out with their VX6 HD Gen 2 scope. It's an illuminated scope, has a new speed set dial system where you can reset it to 0 without having to have your little Allen wrench that you always lose.
You never have what you need.
Never have it with you when you need it. So you can just manually just flip up the little switch there, reset your dial, and you're good to go. You don't have to have any tooling or anything to be able to do it. Good reticles on all of those scopes. Anyways, there's several other good features that they have, but it's going to be in the $1,900 to $2,600 range depending on size and model. Not model, but the size and the zoom capability of each individual scope. And then they also have a new set of binoculars. They're range finding with ballistics compensation in them and everything. So that's going to be something that's new and upcoming. It's probably already on their website, as a matter of fact. I'm pretty sure it is. So, but that's something that we're going to definitely try to get a hold of this year and do some trial and error with it and see how well they work or don't work. You never know. So, yeah. Knowing Loophole, though, they should work.
Yeah. Jake wasn't at SHOT Show.
Yeah, I wasn't there. Everybody else left me.
Yeah. Jake couldn't get time off from work, but Jake has a few that he's excited about as well. Wasn't there to see him in person, but he wanted to cover a few. So
yeah. So probably the thing I'm most excited about is if you're aware of, there's a company called U.S. Armament Corporation. They're not like the biggest company in the world, but they make like Colt 1903 and 1908 semi-auto pistols and 32 380. They make Garner guns, 1877 Gatling guns, and 4570. That's the company, but they are introducing a new line of suppressors for K98s and Mosin Nagants this year, which I thought is pretty cool. Recreating World War II suppressors that snipers used during World War II. But the thing I'm most excited about, though, is they're also introducing the Delisle carbine, which is, again, it's a suppressed 45 ACP carbine based off of the Lee Enfield action. It's shortened. It takes modified 1911 magazines. Really, really quiet little carbines. I'm kind of excited about that. I don't know if I'll be able to afford one this year, but I'll have to talk to my wife about that. But but yeah, those were used by British commandos and the OSS and SOE in World War II for silent operations. Because again, 45 ACP, they're very, very quiet, and it's just a one tax stamp item. So you just have the suppressor that you basically have to do the NFA paperwork on. It does have a 16-inch barrel, so you don't have to do two different tax stamps that way. But yeah, I'm kind of excited for that.
cool. Dad, next item.
Let's see here. I was going to talk a little bit about the Morocco line. We posted some shorts on a couple of lever guns. I think the 73 Porter did one, and I did one on the 86, I think. They also do the 1895s, the Model 94 course, 92s. We had a few comments, people saying, yeah, but you'll never see them on dealer shelves. So I thought I'd talk about that a little bit. But before I get to that, the Moroccos are really good guns. They're well machined, well made. The 73 or 1873 is the only one that doesn't have a tang safety and a rebounding hammer. Honestly, none of us like the tang safety or rebounding hammer, but it's just the way it is in today's world of liabilities and so on. But also, I throw in that mix too the Browning BLR, that series of rifles. They have very limited models offered, and it's because all these are limited productions, not by choice, but it's because the tsunami that hit Japan so hard here several years ago literally wiped out one of the plants that was a major manufacturer. I didn't fully understand if that was a subcontractor or just a second plant in Morocco, but it wiped it out, a lot of their capacity. So they're really hurting. And as we speak right now, they're building a new facility and that will increase capacity. I think, didn't they say about 18 months, Joe?
Yeah.
18 months I'll be back up and running stronger.
Well, not back up. It'll be a brand new facility and up
And
and
it'll
running.
be fully going to that
Yeah,
point. He
18
said
months.
about 12 months, though, they should start seeing a little bit of uptake in production. But 18 months, expect much higher production. So
So that's good news. Hopefully you actually do see those guns on the shelf soon. So just wanted to clarify that. Got the 73 Porter did a good review on one, or a short at the show. But these are very nice guns. They're very close to originals. This one's a saddle ring carbine, 20-inch barrel, ladder sight, saddle ring, of course, carbine style steel butt plate, oil hand finished walnut stocks, close to originals, and this one shoots very well. So anyway, just hang tight on the Moroccos. They're coming. So hang in there.
yeah. For me next, I guess I wanted to mention Nemo Arms. They're a local company here based in Boise, Idaho. We had a good talk with them at SHOT Show. They've got some new features on all of their rifles. Their handguard was updated a bit, and then they have a new rifle or a pistol with a brace. It's the Mongoose. It's a 9mm pistol, and supposed to compete with the CZ Scorpion kind of line of things, because the Scorpion is pretty popular, but it takes CZ Scorpion magazines. But we'll get one of those for the channel here soon, so stay tuned for that. That'll be a fun one to see how that shoots and how reliable and functional it is. So yeah, kind of a neat. We did a short on that if you want to see some details on what it looks like. But Fort,
another gun that we're gonna try to get in. I don't know how well it'll work. I mean, you never know with something like this. But is the Henry, the new Henry lever action,
the Supreme.
Yeah, the Supreme rifle, I think is what they call it. It takes AR mags. It's hammerless. Anyways, tank safety, threaded barrels, so kind of all the modern pizzazz, so to speak, where they kept the wooden stock for now. I don't know if they had anything in the way of a modular stock or not on them, but iron sights and everything, so everything you want. I just don't like not having the hammer. It feels weird to have a lever gun without a hammer, but that's neither here nor there. But it takes Magpul mags. They had it in 300 blackout and 223 so far that I've seen, but I'm sure they'll put in other calibers in there as well.
We shot it at range day.
Yeah, we shot it at range day. It shot good, but Joe had a little hang up with the mag, but it could have just been the mag. Who knows?
Yeah, we weren't sure what caused it. There's a couple of things that could have been. So we'd like to get one to actually do a full in-depth, put a lot of rounds through it review.
Yep. I hear they shoot like a bolt gun, like really good accuracy out of them. So, I guess that's something we'll have to look into and find out how good they are. So,
Well, I don't think they're out in full production, are they?
They are. They're out.
The one that you handled, Joe. Joe inserted a magazine. I watched him do it. Man, it just froze solid. You couldn't open the action. You couldn't get the mag out. So, and that was out of range day. And the wind was blowing like a son of a gun. It was cold.
I think they overloaded the magazine by one, is what I suspect.
No excuse.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do that.
I know.
Shouldn't do that. But the point was, you got these safety guys on each side of you that are acting like you're going to blow the place up or something. And it was just awkward trying to, you really couldn't handle guns freely as you would at home or whatever. But so we quit. But the next day or so, we got to the Henry booth at the show. We examined others, and we noticed that when you try to do the magazine release button, that mag would still hang up. And we looked inside, and the little release wasn't quite swinging all the way over. So it's still
a small fix.
Yeah, small fix, but you don't want to buy a brand new gun and have to fix it. So I'm hoping Henry is, getting a handle on early issues like that.
That was the only thing I saw that was like a quote unquote issue, but it wasn't that bad.
But we'd like to test one and see what was causing that issue. So
put
that's
20 mags through it and see what's really going on.
Yeah, I mean, at least 20 mags. Yeah, we'll put a lot of rounds through it and put it through its paces when we get it. So
put it on paper, see how well it shoots, you know, and just things. But it looks like a pretty promising new rifle that for those guys.
It looks weird though. I mean, if you're a classy lever gun guy, it's not
really for you. But if you're a guy that doesn't mind having something a little unique like that, like me, I don't mind having something unique.
It's
you know,
more for the younger generation, so to say.
Yeah.
They've got an AR.
Dad would never liked it.
They got mags and
interchangeable
Exactly,
mags
yeah.
and ammo, everything. So yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like a pretty promising, nice little rifle. So
Yep. All right, Jake.
PSA, they've got some cool stuff coming out. For one thing, they're doing their Jacqueline 308, which, you know, people that want a 308, that's a good option, you know, kind of competing with the Scar.
And those Jackals have good reliability.
Yeah,
Like, they've
yeah.
been very well received so far.
I'm hoping that, you know, in the 308 version, it works just as good as their 5.56 version. I believe they're doing it in 9mm as well, new for this year as well. So that'd be kind of cool just to have different options there. But they're also doing, under their Harrington and Richardson brand, they're doing a FAL clone. So they call it, I think, the T48. It's supposed to be kind of like what the FAL was supposed to be if the U.S. had adopted it, you know, during the U.S. trials in the 40s or 50s or whatever whenever that was. And so that's kind of what they're doing. Again, who knows how well those rifles are going to be working, but PSA's I think they'd probably work pretty good, and they got a good warranty, so let's hope for the best on those, you know?
Yeah. All right, Dad.
You know, another company that Cowboy Action kind of came, and I don't want to say went, but its heyday is over. There's still some real dedicated cowboy shooters, and that's all fine and dandy, but we still have a lot of people enjoy traditional firearms. And when I was a kid growing up, there weren't a lot of replicas. There were, you know, Uberti was just kind of getting known at the time, and the quality was not the greatest and so on. But there's one company, Cimarron Firearms. Mike Harvey is the owner and proprietor of that company. And they've played actually a very significant role in the industry to work with these Italian companies to bring out the models that people want, and the quality has been improved substantially through them. They, of course, import Uberti and Pieta both, and so they kind of compete with them their own selves with two different brands of single actions. Depends on what the shooter wants. They're both very good guns. I've done videos on those. Of course, in the rifle line, they of course use Uberti as well in the lever actions and so on. The 73s and the 76s and so on. They also use Pedersoli on the Sharps rifles and so on, and Chiappa on like their 92 lever actions. But they basically are they carry it all. And
And
anyway,
they do a lot of cool models.
They do.
Really do.
They do. You don't have to be a cowboy action shooter to enjoy their guns.
Yeah.
They,
If you're
it
a
makes
movie
them-
fan, you know, they make a lot of movie models that
Oh,
are
yeah.
cool. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I've got one of their Spencer carbines, of course made by Chiappa, but of course a Cimarron. And I also got one of their 1887 shotguns, and that one's of course made in China, but they oversee production over there and make sure it's to their quality standards, and using real American walnut wood instead of the cheap Chinese wood. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
good guns.
Yeah. One other thing, when COVID hit, that of course importing and so forth, I mean, all that changed. Demand for firearms soared, and I mean, there was many complications. Cimarron had struggled at getting guns. It used to be you could sit down and order a 73 Winchester replica or a single action Armory, whatever, have factory engraving or custom wood or whatever options you want. That's kind of gone away the last number of years. Because it's like we can't get enough to sell what the demand is for anyway. But they're actually hoping within the next 1 to 2 years that option returns. So you know, guys that want something special, you know, it takes time to get those. Usually 6 months to a year, but you know, when you're getting a custom built gun in Italy, that's not a long wait considering.
Yeah, considering. So,
Yeah.
yep. I guess next thing I want to mention is Staccato. They have their new P4 and P5 in their HD line. Unique thing about those guns is they'll take Glock magazines. You'll have your double stack 1911 or 2011, as Staccato calls them, that takes Glock mags. So if you've got a Glock laying around, you've got mag compatibility across the board and cheap magazines, and you get Staccato's name and reliability. So, and the optics mounting system on those is very versatile as well. They've got tons of options with that. So pretty neat guns. There's no grip safety on them, just your thumb safety. They're ambidextrous. yeah, really neat looking gun. So we're gonna get one of those for the channel to review. But yeah, that was a big news. So I think I've been seeing it for years that somebody ought to make a double stack 1911, that's 2011 that takes Glock mags. There have been a couple out there, but now that Staccato's doing it, you get that reliability that's expected from Staccato.
I see a lot of competition coming in that area too.
Yeah. So it seems like everybody out there now is trying to make a double stack 1911 to compete with Staccato, but Staccato still owns the market. There's no competition, so to say. Kimber Kimber's making their 2K11. We actually shot that at range day. They announced that a couple months ago, and that's actually a really nice gun. I pretty impressed with it. And the nice thing about Kimber is they're doing it in 9mm and 45 both. So if you want that 45 ACP, you can get that, which is what I would prefer personally in a 1911 style gun. But we shot both the 9mm and 45 at range day, and it was neat shooter. It's a little flashy. They have their gold kind of competition model, and then there's the basic black model that's a few $100 cheaper. And so if you just want the all black, Kimber has that option. Kimber also, they've been making 1911s for a long time now, and
Almost 30 years.
yeah, Dad was noticing, they had a bunch of their guns on display. That was on a side note here, that was the nice thing about SHOT Show, because you go into a gun store, your local store, and they don't have every model out there, and you can't always look at guns that are new or out there that the gun store just doesn't offer. So being at SHOT Show, everybody had all their guns there, so you could see every single gun, all the models, all the colors, and we took a lot of shots of different guns, and we'll be posting those in the next week or two just to showcase some different color options and some custom looking guns that are available that you can have your store or your local shop order. But Kimber, they've got a lightweight 1911 model that runs about $600 to $700 street price, and that's for the money you're getting a pretty darn good gun. So
Okay. Well, I'm another company that's coming out with some pretty cool technology in the scope market is Burris. Especially for the price, you can't hardly beat them for the kind of stuff you get from them. But they're coming out with their new Eliminator 6 scope, and then there's also I think it's called the Veracity scope as well. So they have two different new models on those. And the Eliminator 6 has a built-in rangefinder, so it makes ranging and then compensating it right there all in one unit so much faster and easier for target shooting, varmint shooting. Here in Idaho, I don't think we're allowed to use built-in rangefinders that do that for big game. But at least for varmint shooting and steel shooting, it'll really make those types of things easier for you. And the price point is really good on it. So yeah, that's something else this year I'm going to try to get a hold of, maybe midsummer this year, and try to do a little bit
from Burris, I think it's around $1,500 for that
15 to 2
Eliminator 6, right?
Yeah,
I think it was $1,589 or something MSRP, but that's a third or a fourth the price of other guys on the market that are making that same scope with the same features. So
so yeah, it'll be a pretty nice scope for the features you're getting in it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to try that out. Maybe do some prairie dog shooting with it or something this year. That'd be kind of fun to test out.
Yeah.
Because really, for a scope like that will really tell you whether or not it works or not. As you shoot 200 or 300 rounds or more through one gun on one range, shooting prairie dogs like that, it'll tell you if the scope works or not. So
yeah.
Anyways, so that's something upcoming that I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah. Jake, anything else you had to cover from SHOT Show?
So I really like the classic guns, and so there's not too much new in the classic arena that's was really exciting. Lipsy's is offering some new Rigger 77 series of rifles. I thought that was pretty cool. They got the Alaskan model, and they have
the African model.
The African, and then the 270, 100 years of the 270.
Yeah.
I wish they would do, or maybe, in the future they should do one with high-grade walnut iron sights and 7mm Mauser. I would buy one of those in a heartbeat.
Yeah, those are classy looking guns. I know we did some shorts on those.
Yeah.
They're just pretty looking iron sights and the walnut.
Yeah.
They look good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, walking around the show, all we see is plastic and synthetics everywhere. Everywhere. Each, like, we were at the Bergara booth, and they had one walnut stocked
Out of
rifle.
about 30 guns on the
About
wall.
30 or 40 guns they had displayed there, and
There's really a market for the blued and walnut.
there
type
is.
of-
Yeah,
type
you walked
crowd.
into the Lipsy's booth, and it was just like refreshing to see these classic looking guns that are still a modern rifle you can go out and use and hunt with. And
Or the Cimarron booth. Joe was showing me some
Cimarron.
pictures he
Yeah.
was taking of just racks of rifles and
Yeah.
handguns, and yeah,
How it used to be.
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But-
it's refreshing in the modern world of black guns and semi-autos and
different.
striker fired guns.
See some throwbacks like that a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
So Lipsy's is really doing some awesome stuff. It seems like every month they've got something new that's just classy that people are going to want. So
Yeah. Well, and it shows that the market is still there. If someone could produce that more often, it would really take a huge bite out of that market.
yeah,
I gotta mention, Jake, you mentioned the 7x57. Lipsy's is doing a Ruger #1 in 275 Rigby, which is the same as the 7x57 Mauser or 7mm Mauser. And one thing about these boys, they all grew up shooting 7 Mausers to learn to shoot with on deer and so on. Works very well, modest recoil. As long as you're not asking to shoot 10,000 yards like they do these
Yeah.
it is what it is, but it's a wonderful little cartridge that's just pleasant and
Never really caught on in the U.S. like it should have, honestly.
Yep. The kind of the counter to it became the 7mm08 Remington.
Yeah.
Great cartridge in its own right, but the 7 Mauser can be loaded up very similar pressures and outperform it, or at least equal it in
Yeah.
performance. And
Especially considering it was around in the 1890s.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he was way ahead of his time.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Lipsy's is offering a Woodstock #1 and 275 Rigby.
which are cool guns too.
Yeah.
The Ruger #1s are pretty neat.
Hornady makes the ammo, by the way, so properly labeled and all that. It just sounds more
Sounds cool, sporting.
more sportsman or yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of reminiscent of the old, 1920s hunters from, hunting the world in Africa or
Yep.
India or,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that 77. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that because we did, in addition to looking at Lipsy's exclusives that are, wood stocked, 77s with, black tip ebony 4-inch tips and plastic stock and iron sights that they have, like on the African model, which they also do in a 22 Hornet, by the way, which is a really cool little gun. We did go over to the Ruger booth, and of course, still laminate and synthetic stocks are still widely popular. So that's what people want. Manufacturers
They had a
don't worry.
few blued guns too.
They did.
Ruger had a lot.
I'm getting there. They still offered all those, and those are tough and they're durable and they don't break and all that. But they still had wood stock guns there, and people still will pick them up and looking at them, and I'm sure they're buying them or they wouldn't offer them. So, but that 77 action, the Mark II especially, and the Hawkeye, man, that's a tough, durable action, just bulletproof. You almost can't hurt them.
On the Ruger note, I hate to ruin the moment while we're talking about cool, classy guns, but
Going back to plastic, Joe. Don't put it too close to the campfire.
yeah, it might melt. But Ruger, probably 2 months ago, announced the RXM with Ruger Magpul collaboration. It's basically a Glock 19 clone. But for the money, that's a really feature-packed gun. We were able to shoot those at range day as well, and the optics cut on those is cut for an RMR, but it's also compatible with your Delta Point Pro and the RMSC. So you get pretty much 90% of the red dots out there are cut for those 3 optics. So you could pretty much put any red dot on it you want. It comes with a tritium front sight with a blacked out rear sight, which is kind of the new norm, or the best, that's kind of the better offering on the striker fired world. And you get their higher sights. They're not just your standard low sights. They're a little bit higher, so you can co-witness with that optics cut. And then Magpul did an amazing job on that grip. The grip frame itself feels really comfortable. It's more textured than a Glock, so you're paying for the features. You're paying about $250 less than the Glock 19 MOS, and you're getting a better optics cut
And
system.
you're getting a Ruger.
And it's Ruger and Magpul, you know, and better
made.
And you know, I mean, for the money, I think you're really getting a really good gun out of that. And we're gonna get one, and that's kind of upcoming for this year. We've got a lot of good stuff planned, but that'll be a video we do here in the next couple of weeks. It's the Ruger RXM, you know, we'll talk about more of the features then, but I think for the money, you're getting a really, really good gun. Especially, I mean, you can't go wrong at $400. I mean, street price, you know, as long as it's functioning. So we'll test it. We're going to put a lot of rounds through it and just put it through its paces. But, you know, for something to throw in your glove box or have in your nightstand for home defense, I think that you're getting a really good gun for the money.
Yeah,
So,
and as you know, Ruger just tests the heck out of stuff. They want to make sure it's right when it goes to market, and of course their guns are ultra durable.
Yeah.
And they've of course targeted what probably
Most of the
most
shooting
popular
world.
9mm. I mean,
yeah.
and they're going head to head with them, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I asked the Ruger guys there while we were at the booth, I said, hey, you know, what's the next step for the RXM, you know, because that's just the Glock 19 size that they did, you know, and there's a bunch of different sizes and frames and barrel lengths they could do. And the guy answered me by saying, well, what's not next? So, I mean, they've got a lot of good stuff planned on that line, and that really puts Ruger into that striker-fired world now, you know, because they've had some other striker guns that just were cheap and average, you know, but they were affordable for anybody. But now they're in there and they've got a gun that's really quality for the money, and you're getting a lot of really great features. So
They've made other quality striker-fired guns, like they had the SR series.
just never took
They-
off.
Yeah, it just
and then they
never
had the
quite-
Ruger American pistol.
it
and they
never quite took off.
For
Yeah.
whatever reason, they just never took off.
Yeah.
So,
The other problem too is that they would change the model.
every few years.
Yes,
It's
and it wouldn't get established. Just
Yeah.
saying the next gen of this or whatever.
They'd
And
change it.
so,
And
so hopefully they're with this one long term.
I think, you know, so far it's been very well received. I think that they hit a home run, so to say.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, you know, the features you're getting out of that gun outdo the Glock by far. You know, you get the upgraded steel sights instead of plastic sights, and then you have a better optics cut system that's more durable and sets that optic lower for a more natural grip angle. And then, of course, it takes Magpul or Glock magazines.
and the grip's more comfortable.
Way more comfortable. They
Yeah.
they angled it more like a 1911 instead of the super angled Glock. Yeah. So more natural. If you're a 1911 fan, you can pick up that RXM, and it's going to have the same angle that your 1911 has. So it's going to be much more natural to shoot. So
Yeah, I think that's about all the
anything
things
else
that are
from
really,
SHOT
really
Show you
new
wanted
from
to
SHOT
mention,
Show
Dad?
that-
Couple things. Before we leave that Ruger, you know, and it's also we're kind of forced into buying and shooting a lot of foreign-made guns because I don't want to get into politics here, but many of our manufacturers have literally been forced out because of taxes and regulations and just a variety of things. My hat's really off to American makers that have survived because they have done a tremendous job with all the stacked deck they've been fighting to be able to produce guns here. So honestly, it's really good to have a basically 100% U.S. made striker fired pistol right here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, you know, we're putting our fellow countrymen to work and supporting good American company.
Before you move on from that note, there are two other new all USA made guns out there as well. The HK-CC9, which is their compact concealed carry. That's the first HK USA made gun they've made. And then Canik has their MC9 Prime, which is also all USA made. So yeah, I mean, it's nice that some of these manufacturers are trying to get some of that back in the US. So for Ruger, I mean, 100% USA made, every single gun they have.
Yep. Magpul was
Yeah, with Magpul for the grip. So,
yeah.
and Magpul, you know, they've been doing stuff for a lot of years, and they've
Yeah.
kind of got it figured out. So,
Yeah, really. Yeah. So but back to your comment, Paul, one of the things while we were at the Ruger booth, of course, we actually spent a lot of time going over things with Marlin, where they're at, what's coming in the future. I know there's been a lot of frustration out there since Ruger bought them because they were very careful when they brought the gun out. They It took them longer to bring it out than they wanted, but when they brought it to market, it was right. Those things have worked flawlessly for us. They're honestly, they're probably the best Marlins built in this, in many years. And Ruger's done a very good job with them. But as they've introduced new models, it's been really hard for people to get them. And so I've heard horror stories of people driving 3 states, and taking their FFL license, picking up guns and shipping them home and this and that. And they've been very hard to get. Now, Ruger's telling me right now they're almost at capacity on them, or Marlin rather, and that they're actually seeing it where they are beginning to get guns on shelf ready to start to ship to dealers when an order comes in. So we're kind of getting our head above water. With that said, they've got several new models that are noteworthy. They're going slow at this. They have a lot on the agenda over the next year. Yes, the Cowboy models will be coming. It's going to take time. Don't know if it's going to be this year or next, but they're going as fast as they can. And it's not as easy to just change a barrel configuration and punch out guns as everybody thinks it is. Everything with modern manufacturing, everything is very precise, and it has to be done very cost effectively, or they can't make it work. And then the other thing is, we'll be doing reviews on this, and this is kind of where we're headed next, with some of the things we're going to be coming out on. I'll be doing some Marlin reviews, a lot of other lever action reviews. I still consider Marlin just a top company, and if you want a quality lever gun that's just durable, tough as nails, that works, they're still really, really hard to beat. So,
yeah. Upcoming projects. We're done with SHOT Show, I think. I'm sure we forgot a couple things that we're excited about because there's so much there. But yeah, upcoming projects for this year. Do we want to start with Jake?
Sure. So with me, I'm going to be doing just throughout the year lots of stuff on cap and ball revolvers and Civil War era guns. So this one here is a Pieta Danson Brothers revolver. My friend at Goons Gun Works worked this one over. If you have a cap and ball revolver and you want it to be as reliable as humanly possible, send your gun to him, because he will he's a wizard in making these things run and run right. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing lots of different cap and ball revolver stuff. We do have a bear hunt planned.
Yeah, spring bear hunt. That's a big one.
I'm gonna be trying to get one with a dragoon that's actually over at Goons right now, getting worked over. He's doing kind of a custom package thing on it called his making it a super durable bear gun. So should be able to shoot pretty heavy loads out of that. And if all goes according to plan, I'll be harvesting a bear or killing a bear, I should say, with my dragoon. So
it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll try to get as much of that on film. Hunting and filming is kind of hard, but we'll have a good video on it. So stay tuned.
Something we should mention, since you're on that subject, when we were at SHOT Show, we swung by Smith & Wesson and talked to Jerry Mikulek, and I've known him a long time, and really a good guy, down-to-earth guy. Even though he's probably the world's best revolver shooter ever, double action revolver obviously is what brought him to the dance, so to speak. He's just a genuinely nice guy, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. But we invited him to go on that bear hunt. He's going to be up shooting prairie dogs in Montana, and we're trying to line that up, or he is trying to line up. He may come down and join us on that. So but that was another highlight at SHOT for Joe and Jake here, or Jake and Joe and Port, excuse me, is being able to meet him and talk with him a little while and so on. And so anyway, he may put some, if you know him, put some heat on him, tell him to go join the Pierce brothers for bear hunt.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty neat. I think as us boys grew up, we didn't realize kind of who our dad was. I mean, we knew, but
that can be taken.
Well, because we kind of take for granted that our dad is Brian Pierce with all that knowledge of lever guns and revolvers. And anyways, being able to sit there and just kind of listen to him and Jerry talk about guns and just all over kind of stuff, and it was just neat, and I had the same kind of experience when Lipsies came over here to Idaho to present John Taffen with the Perfect Pack and Pistol. I was there to kind of film and just be there, and it was just fun, sitting there listening to Dad and John and Jason from Lipsy's and Tyler from Tyler Gunworks just talk guns and revolvers and stuff, Anyways, it's been kind of neat. So, but yeah, I think that us boys didn't fully realize what kind of blessing we had growing up, all the knowledge of revolvers and that. So
when we left, after presenting that gun to John Taffin and so on, which that's another one to check out at Lipsy's, is the Taffin Perfect Pack and Pistol.
Yeah, we've had some people asking when those are going to ship, and they should have those in warehouse in a couple weeks.
Well, they've been shipping.
They have been, but limited so far.
Yeah.
But he said they should be getting a lot more coming. So yeah, just be patient.
Yeah, they're real. Ruger's making them. It's just that they don't push a button, and 10,000 come out the other end. It takes time, so they're going as fast as they can on that.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget Joe's comment when we left John's house, because Joe's pretty quiet. He knows when to listen, and he said, "Man, there's a whole lot of people that would have given a whole lot to just sit there and listen to that conversation."
Because we were there for a good 6 hours.
Yeah.
And just talking, and John talking this and that and telling stories. And anyways, yeah. It was pretty neat. I tried to film some of it and put it in there, but I had to cut and trim, and we didn't get all of it. We didn't just have the camera running the whole time, for privacy and whatever else. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that would have loved to just sat there and listen, because all that knowledge in one room of people just talking about guns casually about this and that. And yeah, it was pretty neat. So, but if you haven't watched that Perfect Pack and Pistol video, go give that a watch. Some of that footage is at the end. You see John, and I got some of that conversation, but a very, like I said, we were there for 6 hours or so, and it's pretty limited what we got in the video. So, yep.
So yeah, the bear hunt. My wife wants the bear to make, wants all the fat from the bear to make soap and stuff with, and I'll be stealing some of it to make
tallow.
Yeah, to make tallow for my black powder stuff. Let's see, other projects. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm going to be trying to get a couple of Cimarron or Henry lever actions this year.
We have a lot planned. We really do. Between us,
Yeah.
If we didn't have jobs that we were working full time at, we'd be able to sit there and produce a video every single day, and we could do that for years and not run out of ideas. We just have so much that we want to do that we just don't have time to do yet. So it's coming though. We're working hard at just getting good content out for you guys. And yeah, Dad, what upcoming projects do you have? I mentioned a few with Ruger and that, but
yeah, I've got a lot planned. I want to do a series on bolt action rifles, help people understand the actions and just technicalities, discuss them, mostly in the classic American stuff, but we'll discuss Mauser 98s and other things as well. Also want to do a lot of cartridge reviews. I just did one on the 41 mag. It just broke actually a couple hours ago. Yeah. And want to do a lot on 6-gun cartridges, at rifle cartridges and so on. But no, I got some neat ideas coming up.
On that note, we're starting a series called, we're not sure what the playlist will be called yet, but it's going to be something to the effect of American Outlaws and Heroes or something along those lines. First video in that series will be John Patton, and that video will drop here pretty soon. George Patton, that's what I meant. Yeah. General George Patton. We were just talking about John Taffin, so I had John in my mind, but yeah, General George Patton. So that'll come out here pretty quick. That's a fun one, but that's going to kind of kick off the series, and we'll cover lawmen and outlaws and just different American icons through the years, and talk about what guns they used and a few brief things from their life. So
yeah, we'll go clear back to the Revolutionary War to modern heroes. And the other thing is that we snuck down to the California Nevada line and saw the Bonnie and Clyde car where of course they got shot up and ended their career, but Frank Hamer, an old Texas Ranger, was one that oversaw that, getting them stopped, and it was kind of neat seeing that car. And that's another one of these in the series that will cover Frank Hamer and some of his history. He was a tough old lawman, and some of those are really interesting chapters in history, and yet we have a new generation that doesn't seem to quite understand the significance of some of those gentlemen. So,
Yeah. I don't know, we kind of talked about, I kind of cover more on the tactical side of stuff, but I'll be involved in some of these other videos we're doing. But we're going to do a video on the Ruger PC carbine. That rifle's been out for a while now, but we'll get one of the newer models with the folding stock. We'll do a couple videos on those, probably a full gun review, and then maybe we'll do a zombie shoot with them or something for fun. And then the RXM, I mentioned that one. A lot of these guns from SHOT Show I mentioned, we'll have videos on those. But we'll cover more in the knife world. I want to do some good real world knife torture tests in that, whether it's skinning or cutting wood or chopping firewood, all kinds of stuff. So we'll have some good knife content coming up as well, and just some different companies, and try to showcase good values in the knife world, because there's about 1 million people out there making knives these days. So but there are good and bad knives, and it's I want to help you guys find good value knives that you can get. So
Yeah, and I'm like always, I'm going to be doing cowboy guns, and then long range optics, bullets, rifles, pretty much anything long range that way. So
on that note, when we spoke with Nemo Arms, we're going to try to get Port one of their 300 Win Mag Omens, and we'll do some long range.
Put that to the test.
We're going to see how far we can take a 300 Win Mag and hit shots on a silhouette. That'll be a fun video. So how far you think, Port?
Yeah, at least a mile.
At least a mile. Yeah, we'll see. So it's going to be a fun one.
going up at a mile, right?
Yeah. On that,
should be able to.
Yeah, Nemo Arms, their 300 Win Mag in their Omen series, they have a patented bolt design that they did on those that reduces recoil enough to where it feels lighter than a 308, he said.
25% less
Yeah,
recoil?
25 or
I think that's
30%
what
less
they said.
recoil in a 300 Win Mag. So,
It really absorbs a lot of the recoil.
yeah, we'll get that, and we'll do a good full review on those. But those are a really, really cool gun they're making. So,
Anyways,
I don't know. Anything else you guys want to mention?
I think that's about it. I think that pretty much is a
Quarter's
wrap.
getting cold is why. It's actually very cold.
Yeah.
The wind's kicking up. One thing, as I mentioned, that we did kind of a short video at the SHOT Show on the 7mm backcountry that's offered by Federal this year. If that cartridge can be hand loaded, you'll probably see a hand loading feature first from me on it. But we got some obstacles to overcome with that case. They're already into the third phase of designing that. They're redesigning it. And when RCBS is working, trying to make the dies, they're like, this is not going to work. We cannot do this. The Federal will say, wait, wrong batch of cases. We're going to try this again. They got a proprietary alloyed steel in there. Those that may not have seen that video, in a nutshell, what we've got is an all-steel case in a 7mm cartridge that is running 80,000 PSI. And that's a little excess when you consider that proof loads are going to be about 120,000 PSI, which is just insane. But the claim to fame on this is that the case expands and grips the chamber, that it minimizes case head thrust. So that's the only way that the cartridge can be chambered in conventional two-lug bolt actions like Ruger 77s and, similar type actions, which there's, probably 10 or 12 companies, including Bergara, Ruger, Altera
Savage,
Arms,
yeah.
Savage. They're all claiming, yes, we can
Isley,
chamber it, and we
yeah.
are going to chamber it. So the jury's still a little out on that. There's some obstacles to overcome on it. It might require some outside the box thinking to make the dies work correctly. But we'll tackle that. We'll at least present the cartridge. The hand loading thing, we will see how that works. So, but that'll be something that we'll be discussing in greater details throughout the year or so.
Yeah. Anything else? I think that about sums it up.
Yeah, I think so.
If you have cool projects you want us to cover, throw them in the comments. We're always open to ideas, and we have a list still of ideas we're working through. And, but like we said, we're kind of limited on time and that. And so, but we'll get to them all, eventually. That's our goal, is to get to every single idea you guys have for us. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure and share, subscribe, all that. The best way to support us is through our Patreon. Go join our Patreon, and then of course share our channel with your friends and family. Help us grow that way. We're really optimistic that this year we're going to see a lot of growth, and not just growth of who's following and watching, but growth as a channel on our knowledge of how to edit and how to upload and how to, just do all that. It's
make a better video for the viewer.
yeah, and I look at, we started, it was about a year ago, and the amount of knowledge we've learned over the last year, I'm sure in another year we'll look back and say, wow, we learned so much, and that's it's just part of having a business here, growing and learning and always improving, and that's really our goal, is to just always put out better and better content as we go. So
one quick insert too. We really appreciate the comments. We enjoy. We generally get very positive comments. We greatly appreciate that. We don't always have the time to answer. We wish we did. We're doing the best we can. Be patient with us. We pick away whenever we have a few minutes of downtime at trying to respond. We're not being rude, I promise. We're just awfully busy. I got home, of course, had to deal with cattle and livestock and horses this morning. And by the way, Porter, I had one more coyote to the Christmas tree at over 500 yards with a non-dialing skull. So
Yeah.
he's a pretty one. Anyway, so yeah, we're busy. We try to get. We really are trying to answer the comments and stuff, but we all work too long of hours actually.
yeah, and really Patreon is our focus. If you have specific questions in that, join our Patreon and send us a message, and
We do answer everything on there.
every single thing we get on Patreon will be answered, so that's if you want a very personalized message in that, get on there and shoot us a direct message. So yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.